Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. My name is Brother Omar El Rashid, and I'm the author, poet, and Peaceful Hearts Guide. And I wanted to ask you a question. Have you ever felt like when you're around family, you're not quite your exuberant, happy self as you are when you're around your friends? I was dealing with something like that just the other day, in fact, yesterday, and I had just gotten off of a new conference call with a new potential partner that we're working on collaborations together. Things were going really well. The conversation went really well. Earlier in my work, I had just finished a new project, and I was just feeling really excited and really happy. And I had planned to go see one of my family members after I got off of work. And as I was on my way, I was feeling full of life. I was feeling happy. And then when I got there, all of a sudden, this sadness had come over me. And I really wasn't sure what was going on. And as I was introspecting and deeply reflecting on what was going on, so we were sitting down at the table. His family was there, my nieces and nephews. It was a great experience, good time, good meal. But I found that I had lost my voice. I wasn't able to talk and speak the way that I normally do with my friends. And I was wondering what on the earth is going on. And so as we're talking, he's talking about what his work is. His wife is talking about her work and her things going on. I'm talking about my things. And I suddenly found myself almost at a loss for words. And here I am. I'm never at a loss for words. I'm like one of the most loquacious, verbal people on earth. And here I am stuck with finding nothing to say. And why would that be? And as I was reflecting, I realized a couple of things. And my first thought was, okay, maybe it's because I'm seeing his kids and his kids are reminding me of my kids and I'm not with them and I'm sad. And in my mind, I conjured up this story that I must be sad because I miss my kids, which makes sense, right? It's logical. But is that really what was happening? And so now, if it was the case that I was just feeling sad, I should have used my rocket rescue technique, right? And actually, I was telling a friend of mine just this morning, and they were like, "Oh, Omar, you've got the rocket rescue book. Why didn't you use it?" It's like, "Oh yeah, it's a probably good idea." So if you're interested in using that technique, if you sign in at the link below, you'll be able to take a look at it. But that rocket rescue technique is really good for when you're stuck in negative thinking. How do you get out of it? But what really happened was I realized that every time I started to tell a story and talk about my work, I was actually getting ready to talk about all the things I just mentioned, that I had a really good, successful collaboration partner meeting. It was the first meeting. There are a couple of other people that I'm talking to. It was really exciting. It was really passionate. Every time I started to bring up one of my stories, well, my family members, of course, they want to talk about their stories. And not only do they want to talk about it, they want to overpower and overcome and completely sideline you. So one of the things that I've noticed is that with my friends, there's a genuine deep interest because I guess we're sort of still getting to know each other, right? So there's a lot of mystery. We're really interested in each other's opinions. We're really interested to hear about each other, right? And so because of that, there's a very big tendency for me and my friends to encourage each other to tell their stories, and we really enjoy listening to those stories. But when it comes to family, oftentimes we already know each other. With your very deep, intimate relationships, you know each other for so long, you feel like you already know everything that there is to know. And because of that, you don't necessarily feel the need to spend as much time listening and getting to know. There's not as much excitement and, wonder in that stage with family as there with friends, because you take each other for granted. I know all your stories, you know all my stories, you were raised with me, you know me, so there's less of that appeal. But what there is also at the same time is a stronger tendency, and really this notion of I really want to share my stories because I want to, connect with my brother or with my sibling or whatever it is. And I really want to tell my stories about what's going on. And I want to be heard and I want to be known, right? That's something that we crave more with our intimate family member relationships, very close relationships. So I realized what was happening was I was starting to tell my stories. I was starting to get excited. And then, the thunder was stolen from me and I was taken away. And at some point I realized that, I don't need to assert myself. I don't need to push back. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah and the guidance that He's bestowed, I feel very comfortable with what's going on in my life. I feel very comfortable with where I've reached. After struggling with depression for years, after struggling with bipolar, and again, the medicine helps, of course, but after struggling with depression, suicide attempts, and all of the misery that I've dealt with, I've come to a stage where I realize now that I don't necessarily need to be the center of attention and the center of the spotlight, whether with family or with friends, in order to feel at peace. And this tranquility that Allah has bestowed upon me and that I help other people to reach, this tranquility is something that's unshakable. And so I just don't feel the need to speak out and to be extroverted and to be passionate and talking. I don't have to take center stage. I can sit back, relax, congratulate other people, let them celebrate, and let them take their share of the lion's share of the attention, because I just don't need it. And so here I was, listening to his stories and let them continue talking about their family dynamics and all the things going on, and watching them play with their kids and play with their whatever and having fun and whatever. And I was content to simply be there and be quiet and watch. And they kept saying, Omar, are you feeling sad? Are you miserable? Do you not want to be here? Like, do you wish you were somewhere else? And it's like, no, I'm just enjoying letting you guys do whatever it is you want to do. Because when it was my turn to talk, necessarily the platform was taken, and I didn't feel the need to take it back. And it reminds me of something that happened when I was in Dearborn in Michigan. And this is not just for Dearborn, and this is not just for Lebanese people, but there's this nature, this kind of culture that I've noticed in that city, where there's this, like, you want to fight, bro, like this very braggadocious, like, I'm gonna get mine kind of, like, I'm gonna show off and you put puffing out your chest, you know what I mean, and like just trying to like make something happen. There's a lot of this, and even like in the religious community, it's funny because, like, on the one hand we're trying to be humble and we're trying to worship Allah and all that stuff, but at the same time we puff out our chest and this is my idea, like, if you talk against me, we're gonna get into something, like, this is gonna happen. And it's like, it's not really like violent, but it's like this air of you really this feeling of importance. And this is like endemic in all Muslim communities. I mean, it's here in Boston, it's everywhere that I've lived. This natural thing exists, and of course this exists because of the four inclinations, right? So anyway, so there's this nature in the Dearborn community that I remember, and I remember, like, me and my friends, we would joke about it. It would be like, dude, remember, like, when you're not subscribing to that life, when you don't feel the need to show off and you don't feel the need to push out your chest and dominate the conversation and be the center of attention, you basically just opt out of that fight. You don't have any game in that fight. You don't feel the need to win. So when somebody's trying to win, you just let them have it. And honestly, that can be very dissatisfying for the person who's trying to do the dominating, because part of what they want is they want that back and forth. They want that struggle. And it also reminds me of bullying. There was this technique, I remember I'd seen this, I don't know, TED Talk or whatever, where the guy said, if you really want to defeat a bully, when somebody starts making fun of you, just agree with them and smile and say, you're so right. Thank you for letting me know that. So somebody says, you're the stupidest, ugliest person on earth. And you say, oh, well, thank you so much for letting me know. I really didn't know that. Now I know. Thank you so much. And, like, what are they going to do next? They can't continue to argue with you. Usually what they do is when they say, oh, you're so ugly, you're so stupid, and then you cry or you're upset or you're sad, then they continue to do it. Or if you argue back, no, you are, and then they say, no, you are, right? That's the way that bullies work. That's the way that people who are trying to dominate attention work. But if you just give it to them, it's very unfulfilling. So it's kind of like the antidote to any kind of bullying. It's like the anti-bully practice. Kill them with kindness, as my father always says. And so there it is. Like, when someone wants to take the center stage and you just give it to them, and again, I gave it to them because I didn't need it. I don't care. Like, if you want to dominate the conversation, if you want to, talk about your stories and everything that's going on, that's great. I didn't feel the need to continue the conversation. I didn't feel the need to assert myself in that position. But what I realized is that that's interpreted by many as depression. But it's not depression. It wasn't sadness at all. It was just, I don't feel the need to fight over the breadcrumbs. You know what I mean? Over the limelight. It wasn't necessary. But the beautiful thing about this is that it gives us the ability to understand the depths of what's going on. Are we getting into conversations and arguments with people? Are we giving them, quote unquote, what they're expecting? Because that's the other thing too. For a long time of my life, I did feel like I wanted to grab the center stage, and I felt like I needed to claim the limelight and the breadcrumbs. But I don't feel that need anymore. Allah has given me contentment beyond belief. So like, why struggle for something that I don't need? And the reason that I'm sharing all of this with you is because we may interpret something as we're growing on the spiritual journey, as you're developing. You will find yourself not getting upset and not getting angry or not getting frustrated by things anymore. And the question is why? It's not a sign that you don't care. It's a sign that you're content. And there's a very big difference between that, because a lot of people will interpret not getting into an argument or not getting into a fight as a sign that you're depressed or that you're sad or that you don't care about the world or you don't care about life. But it's not the case. It's simply the case that you feel joy, you feel genuine contentment, and you don't necessarily need to argue or to fight back. Now, what I've decided to do is to be maybe a little more assertive about trying to continue the conversation and share my perspectives, because at the end of the day I do want them to know what's going on and connect with family and all that stuff, and you've still got to operate in the regular world. But it was just very enlightening for me to realize that even though I was feeling like, I didn't necessarily need to engage in that argument, and I didn't want to, not even argument, but I didn't need to engage in that vying for attention, and I just kind of withdrew, and I was content to just sit there and watch and be happy and experience all of the drama that is having adolescent kids and toddlers and whatever else. Like, it was just fun to be there. But I realized that we can be at peace, and we don't have to, be that braggadocious, fighting for domination. Like, we don't need to do that. When you come to a point in which you're feeling this tranquility and this love and this blissful contentment with Allah and with life, it's so much easier to just be at peace, to just chill out, be okay with it, everything as it is, and not necessarily think that all of a sudden we've gone back into depression or something like that. So it was actually a lot of reflection that I did this morning, trying to just, really, was I depressed? Did I have any reason to be depressed? I wasn't. I was just chill. There's a difference between being depressed and being chill. And when you realize that you're content and you don't need to engage in drama, you can just pull back and just watch and just observe. And I've noticed one of the beauties about this path is I find it very easy to be comfortable in silence. I don't have to be talking all the time. I don't have to be dominating the conversation. It's not necessary. But when I'm around a group of people who are interested in what I have to say, then inshallah they'll be of benefit. It will be of benefit, and they will be able to receive whatever it is that I have to say. And again, I enjoy letting people speak. I enjoy letting people share their concerns and their worldview. And if I have something to say, I say something. And if I don't, then I just listen and encourage them as they're going. And it's a pretty cool place to be. So inshallah, just wanted to share that message. There's a link below if you're interested in a free resource for feeling better from depression and anxiety. And it's the main way that I was able to start on this path of, I guess you would say, calm and peace and contentment with Allah and with everything else. But just wanted to share that. If you enjoyed this discussion, I hope that you like and share, tag people who you think could benefit from hearing this, or who know somebody who could benefit from hearing this. And if you feel like sharing, then I'd appreciate it. So with that, I bid you adieu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.